Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings.
Good.
How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome
Morning,
to First
Earthlings.
Contact
How you doing today?
Radio.
Welcome to First Contact Radio.
To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived.
First
Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Hope you're doing well. Today is the last day of the month of April. We're just moving right along in 2015. It's the 30th. So our signs that we're dealing with today is our moon sign made a transition. Yesterday it was in Virgo. Today it's going to Libra. And our sun sign is still the same, which is at Taurus. So you've got Taurus represented here by the tarot card of the Hierophant. The Hierophant, Hebrew letter Va, means nail or hook. So the whole idea, the spiritual teacher, the Hierophant, is hooking together the spiritual world and the physical world. That's why he's the Hierophant. He's the spiritual teacher who bridges those two realms together. And then you have our moon sign today. It's an air sign. It's Libra. And Libra is all about balance, as you can see here. It looks like the scales of justice. So this card deals with karma. So Libra deals with karma. It's how we balance things out. And it's an air sign. So with air, air is generally moving. Unless, of course, sometimes we have those moments where it's still. But generally, air moves. Earth is a stable sign generally. And so we've got earth and we've got air. So we should have some stability in our physical world. But our emotional or our unconscious realm will have some movement to it. We're looking to find this balance, especially as we move on in the year. You know how when we go from month to month, we all seem to gear up for that next month's activity. So we start to look at the end of the month as a time of hurry up, we got to get ready for the next one and so on. We all seem to do that, preparing for what's ahead of us, which is a good thing. So the aspects we're dealing with today, we've got this at 9 o'clock. We're in a void, of course, moon right now. We've come out of Libra and we're going into out of Virgo, going into Libra, and that will happen at 9:03 a.m. As we get into the afternoon, this sign right here, which is the sign for Saturn, gets into the mix, and this is a sextile. And sextile means there's a nice, good, positive energy between these aspects here. So we've got Libra is going to be in a sextile with Saturn. Saturn is all about discipline, and discipline can be looked at as focusing. We discipline or focus what we're trying to accomplish so that we can get better at it. And then later tonight, 9 p.m., Mercury is going to move into its natural place, which is Gemini, all about communication. So we're starting to make a shift. Even though we're not shifting into the sign of Gemini, we are making some moves in that way as the planets are aligning, getting prepared for that aspect and that change to take place in a couple of weeks. We have our grid here, or the wheel, so you can look and see what's going on. Everything I just laid out is here in this wheel, just in a different perspective. So you can see the aspects that we've had right here and what's coming up. On the Jewish calendar, today is the 11th day of Lyar. L-Y-A-R is the month. It's Omar count day 26, tonight 27. Remember the Omar, we're counting to 49. 49 is the days between the Exodus and the giving of the Torah. The daily thought for today on the Jewish calendar is not with toil. Not with toil, nor by struggle did the world come into being. God spoke, and it was, a world created by worlds. Not by toil, nor by struggle is the world sustained. We speak words of Torah, of wisdom, and of kindness, and the world endures. If so, what is the effort he demands from us? That we invest our very essence in those words as he invested his very essence within his world that he made. Current moon phase is almost up to a full moon. 11% to go. We're 89% of the way there. Space weather, solar wind is 343.5 kilometers per second. Reading everything backwards here. Planetary K index. We're quiet between a 1 and a 2. Oh my gosh, look at this coronal hole here. That is one large coronal hole at the top of the sun, and it's hard to imagine that we're not going to be feeling something from this. Actually, it looks like a bunch of them here, doesn't it? Opening up, so it says May 3rd, 4th, we should start to feel some effect from that. M-class flare possibility and X-class flare are both down 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity looks pretty low as well. So with the exception of the sun appearing to open up before our eyes, things are pretty calm otherwise. And up in the sky tonight and this last day of April, it says Happy May Eve as dusk fades. Look for the Pleiades about 2 degrees upper right of Mercury in the low west-northwest. So this is 2 days from now. We really don't get an idea of where we're at. Alright, so there you go. That's the cosmic weather today, what we're dealing with. I know I've been having conversations and people have really been telling me how they feel this intense energy lately. Not just from out here in California, it's been really hot, but just the energy. I don't know, do you feel this energy that's kind of bubbling under the surface? Sometimes for me it feels like it's this heat that is just there, and I can't really describe where it's coming from. It's just like someone lit a fire inside and it just kind of burns and goes throughout the day. You know, it's just like on simmer. I don't know if you feel that, but you know, others tell me they feel similar type things. So I know we're going through changes and this is all part of the course. So onward, UFO news is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So our first sighting today takes us to the space station, the live cam, April 24th. And we've got a blue object. Nice, good blue object captured by none other than Street Cap 1, who does a great job of catching things out there. It says the International Space Station has been a UFO hotspot for several years now. The live cam has given us a lot of valuable images and video of suspected UFOs near the ISS. Street Cap 1 of YouTube is the researcher who caught the most amazing, closest, and docked UFOs at the space station. This is another instance of that. This blue UFO was seen near the space station and may have been there 3 days later on April 28th when a launched rocket of the Russian cargo ship lost control and could not dock on the ISS. Perhaps they caused the cargo ship to spin out of control as an experiment. What will NASA do about it? So there's our object there, and you're not going to see this news on Fox or CNN or anything like that because you're not supposed to know these things exist. Alright, over to the Philippines. We've got a sighting here. You can see it looks like two groupings. This looks like one object and two smaller ones. The sighting was emailed to me today, and it's on the TV news in the Philippines. The many glowing lights are actually just two large UFOs, one bigger and on the right and a smaller UFO on the left. Left has only two lights on it, as you can see from the close-up below. This is one strange-looking UFO. Scott C. Waring. Alright, we got a nice little video coming here, just a news report of what they were seeing, but that's it. That's the object in question. Alright, back up to the International Space Station, this time April 29th. The UFO is the same one that was recorded at the space station on the 24th. It looks like the object either visits often or is nearby following the ISS. Street Cap 1 of YouTube recorded it, and this time it's much more clear and much closer. NASA notices it slowly and then zooms in on the UFO, but it's unclear if NASA went to blue screen afterwards or if the feed was just cut off. The fact that NASA noticed it and zoomed in on it gives us evidence that this was a UFO and that they were worried about it. The zooming in tells us that NASA didn't expect a UFO and had concerns. All right, what would you think if you were on the ISS and you suddenly had a visitor that pulled up alongside you? All right, here's the footage itself. Video is 2 minutes 25 seconds. I'm just going to zoom ahead. There we go. Nice, good, clear shot right there. And it's even better as we go along. That's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to move on to the next sighting. Alright, what does that look like there? Looks like a bison, doesn't it? Some sort of an animal. Well, this was taken on the surface of Mars, right there. And comparison of a bison here, just a point of reference, but we know what they look like. Okay, it says that this bison-like creature was found in a Mars Opportunity photo this week. The object in question is a silhouette of a large creature in the far distance. The size of the object would be about the size of a small car. When enough light is added to the photo, the face is even seen at the head of the creature. Is it an ancient statue or a creature that mimics its surroundings so well that it can't be noticed easily? One thing is clear, NASA does not and never care about any evidence of life on Mars. Their policy is to ignore the public findings and carry out their missions. I say missions because there are two, one public and one secret that the public is not privy to. Sure, some say it's impossible, but the impossible does not exist. All right, so my question to you, and just throwing out there, is this really Mars? We've seen all sorts of things up there. We're told this is Mars, but is it really? I don't know. It's a good question. We know NASA fakes things all the time, so it's possible. Coronado, California, April 29th. Footage of strange lights hovering above Coronado, Bay Area in California. Witness reported weird-shaped geometric object, rectangular, squarish, many different color lights. A few blinking ones seem to stay stationary for a very long period of time. I saw this in the local news, and the object seemed to stay stationary for more than 2 hours. Very oddly shaped, unlike any UFO shape I've seen. The UFO had many different colored lights. A few seemed to bling with a pattern. The local news called military, and the military did not give an answer. All right. And here we have a compilation of sightings for the month of April. And they're just all individual videos here. So we got the one of Tijuana, El Paso, going back to the first, Kazakhstan, Spain, Naples, Florida. This was the eruption in Chile. So if you want to just refresh yourself on all the different sightings, there's a good place to do it right there. And one last story here. This was very interesting. This is a map of UFO sightings in the United States since 1933. Reports of UFO sightings in the Washington, D.C. area had been occurring long before the White House drones and the U.S. Capitol gyrocopter incident of 2015 made headlines. The flashing lights and the saucer-shaped silhouettes that people have claimed to see over the last century may or may not be as real as the quadricopters that the FAA is currently trying to ground, but that hasn't stopped the National UFO Reporting Center from keeping track of where they occurred, or digital cartographer Lou Pearson from mapping those reports over time. Pearson took the NewFox data and integrated into an animated map that displays various types of UFO sightings since 1933, noting their durations and the use of the colored dots. The district doesn't seem to nearly have the same frequency reports that nearby Gathering and Rockville have experienced, but keep an eye on these things and you'll spot some activity in the Bethesda Friendship Heights area. So this is a very interesting looking map, huh? And it really shows lots of stuff here. Says, as far as the legendary 52 UFO sighting above the U.S. Capitol, I'm not sure why that doesn't seem to be documented here, but maybe that cluster of alleged alien reconnaissance vessels just didn't get reported to the right people at the right time. Anyway, check out this. I think you'll find it quite fascinating as you spend time really looking through this and getting used to what it's all about. That, my friends, is our UFO news for today. I'm going to jump away. I'm going to listen to Great Spirit for a few minutes while I prepare the next part. I'll be back. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love, send down your love to us from above. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, show us the way, show us the way, show us the way to live in peace every day. Great Spirit, show us the way, show us the way, show us the way to live in peace every day. Oh, 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 oh. The wheel of life keeps rolling, rolling, rolling round and round, round and round. Nothing you can do will stop it, stop it. And nothing will slow it down. You gotta keep on going, going strong, going strong. You gotta keep believing and keep moving on. Oh, 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 oh. Great Spirit, send down your love, shine down your light, show us the way each and every day. Great Spirit, send down your love, shine down your light, show us the way each and every day. Oh, 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 oh.
Alrighty. Great Spirit, send down your love. We certainly need it, don't we? Love, peace, light. The world seems to be, well, in a precarious situation. We all know what happened here a couple days ago in the United States in Baltimore. We watched it. We saw those involved with the activities. And now we're trying to recover and wonder, why did that happen? And will things like this continue to happen? It seems as if there's a disconnect and that these things continue to happen. I just don't really know why. It's hard to watch the news shows that we saw and really rationalize that these are human beings out there behaving in such manners, because the manners themselves and the ways in which they're behaving weren't very much the way a human being should be acting. So we need to ask ourselves, why have we allowed a portion of our society to behave like that? Where have we fallen down? Where have we stopped paying attention to our brothers and sisters and our family members that we've allowed ourselves to get so far out of control? It's a very good question. You know, the question that I want to bring up during this segment here is, are we being played? Are we being played as Americans? You see, we've been played in the past. A couple weeks ago, I brought forth a list of 33 conspiracy theories that at one time people said, skeptics said that they were incorrect, never could happen. But then they proved themselves over the years to be correct. That means 33 times we didn't learn a lesson. That's a lot more than fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, and so on. That is utter stupidity, that 33 times we've been fooled. You can't have a good percentage if 33 times out of 33 times you're told something, you're fooled. So we really need to kind of get a grasp on why it is that we are allowing ourselves to be deceived in such manners. What is it that we're missing? What are we not paying attention to as a society, as individuals? First of all, we're so caught up in watching the news stations. So many individuals are so caught up believing that CNN or Fox or MSNBC or CBS or NBC or any of them are telling you the truth. Yet all it requires is a study of the propaganda machine in this country, and you'll understand that media was not created to tell you the truth at all. Media was created in order to keep you from the truth. The alphabet agencies that all appear on all of these shows, and the Pentagon agencies that are there to supposedly tell you, do you really believe that they're there to tell you the truth? Come on. Alphabet agencies, by their nature, are secretive agencies. The idea is keep the public from knowing what you're doing. So suddenly these agencies, which are intended to keep the public from knowing, are suddenly going to go on a news show that anybody could see, including those who they consider the bad guys. And they're just going to go on and they're just going to spill the beans about what's going on. If you really believe that is what's going on, I got a bridge for sale, a bridge to nowhere. And I'm sure there's lots of takers. But, folks, we're being played over and over. You know, whether one chooses to look at a situation and believe what they're being told by the media or the government, you're not getting the truth. They have an agenda. When one scours the internet to look for news and media, you find a lot more, because there's a lot more journalists that are out and about with their cameras, their cell phones, that are capturing things live and putting this stuff on the social networks. Some news information doesn't quite make it to the mainstream media because they're not intending to tell you the truth. They're intending to tell you just enough so you're aware that there's something going on, but not to really know what the truth is. Because if you knew the truth, you'd make different decisions. And the media, well, they're in bed with the government agencies and all the corrupt individuals. One day, it's all going to come back around, and these personalities on these shows are going to realize that their lies have hurt a lot of people, and their lies are hurting themselves, and maybe then they'll change their ways. One example of incongruities that have occurred during the course of this is you can find, if you scour the internet, footage from a local news station in Baltimore. And on that station, there are representatives from the 3 gangs members, the 3 gangs that we're told that are out there to kill the police, that they made a pact. And yet there were members from these gangs on the news saying that they did not make a pact. That's not them, that they're being played and they're being set up, that they've been out there actually trying to stop people from creating the violence. Now, are we supposed to take them as their word because they're gang members on the news? Absolutely not. But in light of all the lies that goes on and the way that people are set up. Is it possible? It sure is. When we hear the reports of the instigators who showed up in Baltimore that aren't even from Baltimore, and we start to add that to the mix, we start to see that there's somewhat of an agenda that's going on. There's reports that this guy, Freddie Gray, in the back of the police van was trying to injure himself. And maybe the injuries he sustained to himself were injuries that he himself created and had nothing to do with the police. I don't know. I know that there's an issue of police brutality in this country. I know there's an issue of crime in this country, and I know that these two are clashing with each other. And police have become criminal-like in order to stop the criminals, and the criminals have become more strategic in what they're doing, trying to keep up with the police, and it's just a weird, ugly situation. And what we as Americans need to do is we really need to watch what's going on and not get pulled into it. I'm going to show you and bring up some articles here, kind of support things I'm talking about, and just give you some food for thought. First article here says Baltimore leaders try to curb expectations over a pending police report. An edgy piece held sway here as a huge crowd took the streets before curfew Wednesday night, and the mayor and the police sought to tamp down expectations that residents would learn details on Friday about how a young black man died after being injured in police custody. Fears ran high that at the end of the week could return the city to a violence spurred by the still unexplained death of the man, Freddie Gray. Particularly, people think that they will get answers but do not. Speculation about the possible release of some or all of his findings has fueled expectations that the public will learn much more about the case that day. But the mayor, the police commissioner, the large group of prominent clergymen, and a lawyer for Mr. Gray's family emerged from a meeting Wednesday to give a united warning against expecting any revelations Friday, when the police department said it will turn its findings over to the state's attorney for Baltimore, Marilyn J. Mosby, who will decide whether or not to see criminal charges. 6 officers has been suspended in the episode. Well, there's more to the article. I'm going to leave that to you, but we do know that there is something suspicious because we all did hear the police report, or the report that she gave, where she said that they were giving room for people to destroy. Well, okay. Let's take that statement and add it to all of the other little bits and pieces and clues that we get, and it starts to put together a picture that there's something more going on here than what meets the eye. Last night, apparently, there were riots in New York, and there were arrests made over there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why things are getting so out of control, but somebody's trying to really promote a race war here. They're trying to get blacks and whites fighting with each other. I don't know why. I don't know why everyone can't just get along, but the government and the agencies in control, they seem to know that people really are uncertain about this issue in this day and age and are still willing to fight over it. That's what happens when people are uneducated and they don't understand the reality of the world. This is what happens when people pay too much attention to the mainstream news or lied to over and over, and then confusion sets in. Here's an article up at InfoWars. Are we being psychologically conditioned to accept martial law in America? Have you noticed that we are starting to be bombarded with images of troops in the streets? Have you noticed the term martial law is coming up a lot more in movies, news broadcasts, and even television commercials? In recent years, it seems like the solution to almost every major crisis involves bringing in troops. In fact, it has already gotten to the point where something really bad happens, a lot of Americans immediately cry out for the troops to be brought in. And we are seeing the same patterns over and over again. Just remember what happened in Ferguson. Protesters were whipped up in a frenzy when the riots began. The police were ordered to stand down and not to intervene, and finally the National Guard troops were brought in as the solution to a crisis that escalated widely out of control. This is the exact same pattern that we are witnessing in Baltimore. As you will see below, National Guard troops all over the nation have been training for this exact type of scenario. A couple of decades ago, many Americans would have regarded the notion of martial law in America as absolutely unthinkable. But these days, the threat of civil unrest is causing an increasing number of Americans to embrace the idea of troops patrolling our city streets. You can see there's a lot more to this article. I'm going to leave the article for you to read, but this is the point, my friends. This is the point. That slowly Americans are being conditioned to accept a situation that we shouldn't be accepting. We used to look at this country and we used to think that we were really an awesome country because we didn't have the same sort of conditions that some of the other countries that we were in are having. But now we do. Just as bad, just as worse. The police are out of control. I know people want to say there's good police officers out there, and I truly believe that there are. However, when the good police officers are remaining silent, when bad police officers do something, it's hard to say that that good police officer is in the category of a good police officer because he's not doing his job. So if there truly are good ones out there, and I believe there are, then it is your duty to stand up for the American people, unless, of course, you've lost your courage along the way. And if that's the case, then perhaps it's time for you to leave the police force. But the American people, well, we're the ones who are going to pay for all of the problems that go on. And we're the ones who are going to get rounded up if that is the agenda, if we continue to believe all the lies and just get herded together the way that they want it to be. So I'm going to move on. I got another article here. National Guard trains for civil unrest and rioting. National Guard troops arrived in Baltimore shortly after midnight Monday, to help local police force with the chaos. Rioting, looting, widespread damage flooded the streets following the funeral of a 25-year-old man who died while in police custody. Many of the guardsmen are trained for a situation just like the one in Maryland. It's called civil unrest training, and it was recently completed in Tennessee with a local police department. Troops have trained in Maryland and Colorado. It really helped me put in perspective the person we are going to be up against, the rioter, the unruly person, said the National Guard official. The training includes gas mask training and practice with shields and batons. If we have to use it in the outside world, we are ready for any task possible, said another National Guard official. Troops plan to remain in Baltimore until the city returns to order, until Maryland is no longer under a state of emergency. Right here, it really helps to put in perspective the person we are going to go up against. You know who that person is? An American citizen. So we are getting ready to put our troops up against American citizens. It's happening. People are accepting this. When people saw what happened in Boston last year and accepted the martial law that occurred there without question, there was another notch in the belt of the powers that be. When each of these incidents go by and we accept them and we buy into them, the powers that be laugh at us, silly Americans, because we buy into all the nonsense. When they look at the list of the 33 things that they all are complicit in, and they know that we stupid Americans have laughed and said, no, none of these things have happened, and then all 3 of them came real, they laugh at us Americans and think we're really stupid. And rightly so, because most Americans are afraid to look past their own noses and look past the news and see what's really taking place. Let me continue on, shall I? Operation Jade Helm, massive military drill across 9 states. Okay. From July 15th to September 15th of 2015, the U.S. military will be conducting a massive military drill throughout the United States in an operation entitled Jade Helm. This rather alarming drill across the entire America's Southwest will include U.S. Army Green Beret, U.S. Marine Special Ops Command, U.S. Navy SEALs, and U.S. Air Force Special Ops Command. The stated purpose of the drill contradicts how this unprecedented exercise will actually be carried out. Combine this with the document, the labeling of the entire U.S. as hostile, and it leaves one with a sinking feeling. So, I just read you a story. Are we gearing ourselves up for some sort of martial law? Are we conditioning ourselves for that? It appears to be. We seem to be accepting it more and more. So now we've got another bunch of civil unrest taking place in Baltimore. because the powers that be understand that there's a weak-minded group of people out in the world that all you have to do is push their buttons a little bit and they'll run wild and crazy like animals and destroy their own homes, and then later say that they're victims of some situation. I don't understand that mentality, why someone would destroy their own home, but that's how some people feel the protest situation in their neighborhoods needs to happen. It's unfortunate because it hurts many others, but the world is filled with people that just don't have a lot of insight. Moving on from here, okay, there's the Jade Helm exercise there. But wait, I have more. Texas Ranger drops Jade Helm bombshell. There are trains with shackles on them. The reports about the coming Jade Helm 15 operation across the Southwest continue to suggest that this is not merely a standard training exercises to prepare our military personnel for foreign engagements has been suggested by officials. A letter sent to Dave Hodges at the Common Sense show by the Concerned Texas Ranger indicates that the government is preparing for a scenario similar to what has been described in William Forstchen's recent novella Day of Wrath, in which ISS terrorists crossed the southern border of the U.S. and simultaneously attacked soft targets across the nation. But the letter doesn't stop there. The Ranger, who has kept his identity private for obvious reasons and makes clear that the scope of Jade Helm is so secret that the intent is not completely clear, says that the Jade Helm 15 mission objective may go much further than just preparing for terrorists. According to the Law Enforcement Insider, there are trains moving throughout Texas, and some of them have outfitted with shackles, presumably to transport prisoners of some sort. The claim adds further credence to report about Jade Helm, dissident roundups and arrests, and widespread martial law declarations following an emergency. His letter shed some lights on the Walmart store closing, suggesting at least one may be utilized in a national security capacity as a staging point for the Department of Homeland Security, an agency that is apparently not trusted by anyone within the Texas Rangers organization, according to the source. All right, now, what happened in the Walmarts? Walmarts across the country, I believe it's 50 of them, closed, all saying they had plumbing issues. Really? Plumbing issues in stores all across the country. Yeah, right. Something's going on, my friends. Something's going on that we need to pay attention to. People need to be smarter. We can't allow ourselves to be out of control and go and start causing problems and being violent. That's not the way to go. I know some folks think that's the way to go. It's not. Change your ways. You're only hurting yourself and you're hurting others. And the last thing I have here is a guide. U.S. Army Special Operations Command request to conduct realistic military training, Jade Helm 15. The commander of the United States Army Special Operation Command seeks a written invitation and approval from local officials to conduct realistic military training, otherwise known as RMT, within the jurisdictions for joint military exercise, Jade Helm 15. So what is this realistic training? Realistic military training, RMT, is training conducted outside of federally owned property. The RMT, Realistic Military Training process, is designed to ensure proper coordination between DoD, Department of Defense representatives, and local and regional authorities. The process includes the following measures: risk assessment, medical and communications plans, MOU, MOA, and licensing agreements, training areas, staging areas, role players means actors, legal review, ID of training, staging areas, role players, airfield drop zones, letters of invitations obtained from local officials, coordination with local and federal law enforcement, public affairs review. Jade Helm is a challenging 8-week joint military and interagency unconventional warfare exercise conducted throughout Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. So an unconventional warfare. So we're going to have a drill here in the United States for unconventional warfare, and several of the states are being listed as hostile territories in which members from the Green Beret, the Marine Special Forces, and other special forces are going to be making their way amongst civilians, perhaps dressed as civilians, In some cases, they say they might have an armband to designate them, out there doing their drills among civilians. Is it just a drill, or is this something that they're actually going to be taking measures against American citizens? I don't know. Many Americans don't know. The concern is out there. All I'm saying is we need to pay attention. Situations like that are occurring in Boston need to get under control. The parents of those children who are out there running amok need to get their control of their children. And if the parents don't have the sense to do that, then you need to find some help to get the help for the kids. Whatever it may be, you're being played. The Americans are being played. And until we actually understand this, until we stop listening to the mainstream news, which is lying to us, and the government agencies, which are lying to us, and the agenda to get us into a racial war, unless we stop that and stop listening, is exactly where we're headed. Because when you see the instances of what goes on, you realize that there are people out there who are falling hook, line, and sinker into the agenda, and are out there all these years later, after all that's gone on in this country, still fighting over issues that we should have resolved years ago. And I think for the most part, a lot are resolved. But the media and the government and the powers that be want you to believe otherwise. So, pay attention, my friends. Look, this is all about energy. Okay? Bringing it all back around now to the energy. Every day there's energy put into the world. Every day we have an opportunity to decide how we're going to use it. We can listen to the thoughts that are being put out to the world by the media, the powers that be, or we can listen to the higher self, the spiritual guidance. Remember, the Hierophant, connecting the spiritual with the physical. So we ourselves need to be like the Hierophant. We need to take responsibilities for ourselves, and we need to connect the spiritual to who we are. And when we do, we'll realize that these behaviors, these violence, and all this nonsense we're doing is absolutely the wrong thing to do. Doesn't help anything. Doesn't help a situation. It doesn't help anyone's agenda. Helps nothing. And for those of you who are out there destroying your own neighborhoods, really, that makes zero sense. Pull your head out of your backside and realize that you're only hurting yourself. Stop. Stop hurting yourself. Stop hurting others. We need to move on, my friends. We need to move on, and we have the ability. The ones we've been waiting for to create this solution are us. So let's do it. Let us create the solution that we need. Here is an article. It's at In5D. It's called Allowing the Vibrational Change by the Zen Gardener. Many of the symptoms we're witnessing amongst those who can be explained in terms of vibrational changes we're undergoing. The shift is on. The people are responding by either welcoming or resisting it all at all kinds of levels. It's quite a fascinating phenomena to behold, as well as a bit disturbing, as people who don't get it lash out at whatever influence they perceive as the culprit for their disorientation. Fascinating stuff, but intrinsically important to what's happening here at the surface level. Most importantly is the personal level of this transformation that's happening, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. Fighting the structural degradation of old paradigm is always a messy affair, with seeming little support. Our old viewpoints, except desperate grabbing on to an old thought patterns and resultant behaviors which have shaped our lives, such as the death of the old. The overwhelming empowering aspect of what humanity is experiencing is the complete liberation from decrepit control systems into a world longing for exploration and enjoyment that brings with it realms of transformation we never dreamed of. Whether humanity likes it, believes it, or is ready or not, the change is happening. It's as unstoppable as the music of the spheres, as identified by the great philosophers and geomagnetic mathematician Pythagoras. The wondrous discoveries of the decipherable fundamental rhythmic patterns of creation at every level has profound implications that permeate every level of our existence. Vibrational frequencies affect everything. This has been demonstrated using not just sound and water, Sand and metal fillings where fabulous geometric patterns are formed, which change as the frequency is altered, but also happens with the application of thought, emotions, and intention, as demonstrated by the late, great Masaru Emoto. The Earth resonates with what is called the Schumann resonance frequency, first calculated at 7.83 hertz, and now is literally changing and moving to a higher frequency. And that's just one measuring stick. What else is changing around us and within us? What marvelous new patterns are our basic structures morphing into as this vibrational change continues to unfold? Nothing to the skeptic, but something wonderful to the experiencer. So, it says we need to let go. We need to translate this change. All we have to do is throw the switch. I'll leave with you with this inspiring and enlightening video about our amazing fractal holographic universe and the role sound and frequency play, which highlights this vibrational change we're undergoing. That's well worth the watch. All right, nice video here. 58 minutes in length, but you're going to have to watch that on your own. So, you see, things are changing. We're changing with what's going on. We have to move with the changes. We have to allow our minds to change. We have to allow the way we look at the world to change. We have to move past the issues. Racism is a big issue. We need to move past it. People of one skin color have to stop hating people of another skin color. We need to start taking to heart words of great leaders like Martin Luther King, who said he had a dream one day when people would be judged by the content of their character as opposed to the color of their skin. And yet here we are all these years later, and I think Martin Luther King would be crying if he saw what was going on in the world today and all the way in which we judge each other on our skin color. And yet the content of the character in many cases is often lacking. So we need to change this. And this is the opportunity that these vibrational changes bring. So when the moment comes when we have an opportunity to do the wrong thing and do the right thing, take a moment, think about what's going on. Do the right thing. Do the right thing for yourself, for your friends, for your family, and for the world. It may not be the normal thing that you would do, but if you do the right thing, you'll find that it will encourage others to do the right thing as well. And in the long run, everyone will benefit. And that's what it's all about. And that's how you really win. Do the right thing. Stand up in the right way. And quit being idiots out there. Because being an idiot doesn't get anybody anywhere except in a bad place. We're smarter than that. I know we are. Here's a message from Hilarion.
Hilarion.
April 26th through May 3rd, 2015, by Marlene Svetlashoff.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones. Many people are opening to deeper levels of love within all areas of their consciousness, and this can be a difficult process for some. The needs of others can compete with your own intentions to move forwards in your life, and it is important that you keep on track on your own personal journey. You need to stay connected to your higher promptings and to follow your own star. Each person on Earth is experiencing the higher influx of energies in their own way at the level of their personal awareness. It is difficult to stay on the sidelines and be a witness for those you care for, as they experience the consequences of their choices. Each soul has an individual soul plan and the free will to follow it or not. Difficult as it may be to accept, each person has chosen to follow certain paths in order to gain knowledge and personal experience from them. Be available to your loved ones if and when they need you, and love them without judgment. It takes great courage to experience life in the physical. Many shifts have and will continue to occur within each individual and within the movements of the Earth. The effects of these are far-reaching in their impacts. The Earth is surrounded by a golden light, and this will assist in helping with the changes that have been wrought. Many areas of the world are in need of your loving compassion and energetic intent of healing and support. Send your love and healing energies to those areas that are in the throes of difficult change. The citizens of those areas are in need of love, compassion, and practical support. The changes that occur in each area of the world are felt energetically around the world. The loving hearts of humanity are joined together in the heartbeat of the world they live on, and it is important to stay aware and attuned to it. Take a moment often throughout each day to put a hand to your heart and feel this connection. Within each soul, the truth of the oneness with all is known, acknowledged, and honored. You are all sisters and brothers, and it has always been so. Turn away from anything that would tell you otherwise. Throughout Earth's history, its surface crust has been altered many times, and this is a process that is more prevalent at the end of certain cosmic cycles. The cosmic alignments create changes which open the doorways to new beginnings, and such is the time that is now upon you. You are here now and were deemed capable of going through this process by utilizing the wisdom and knowledge you have accumulated and gained throughout the ages to aid you in riding through it. You have within you all that you need to emerge victorious. Place a star of love over each of these areas, and set the intention that the love and healing this star radiates will be maintained and sustained at all times to offer healing and balancing to everyone within its radius. Your strong and focused intention will make it so. The inner metamorphosis that each of you is going through can leave you feeling and looking drawn and haggard. It is another sign that the downloaded energies that you have received are being assimilated and integrated. It is once again imperative that you ingest more water than usual in order to assist your physical body to cope. More rest and nurturance of self is in order as this process continues. As each person's heart chakra is opened more fully, there is more sensitivity and empathy becoming evident in the outward expressions of the people around you. Allow yourselves to feel into this experience without resistance to it. Keep the events of your life simplified, and this will create the balance that is necessary. There are many activities that can be curtailed without missing their presence in your lives. Simplify, simplify, simplify. By creating order within your homes and eliminating clutter, it creates a more conducive atmosphere which sets the stage for new beginnings. By repeating the words, divine order, many times during the day, you will keep yourselves on task and will not be as likely to lose your focus. This activity also helps you to feel good about yourselves as you experience success in each of the goals that you have accomplished. Stopping often just to look around you and appreciate the beauty that surrounds you is also helpful as you create your new beginnings. We hasten to remind you that each new dawn also brings a new beginning, so be kind to yourselves and more heart-centered in your interactions with others around you. By keeping things as simple as possible, you will get through this. Until next week. I am Hilarion.
Alright, very nice message from Hilarion, as he says, or Hilarion. Good message. Alright, that brings us to our Warrior of the Light passage for today. Today is page 64. The Warrior of Light is a believer. Because he believes in miracles, miracles begin to happen. Because he is sure that his thoughts can change his life begins to change. Because he is certain that he will find love, that love appears. Now and then he is disappointed. Sometimes he gets hurt. Then he hears people say he is so ingenious. But the warrior knows that it is worth it. For every defeat, he has 2 victories in his favor. And his believers know this. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Another deep breath. And fill yourself with that breath and just feel that breath going through all of your cells and invigorating them. And exhale. And just feel this breath in and out as you just breathe normally. And as you do, I want you to think about love. I want you to think about love as the greatest source, the greatest energy that's available to us. And I want you just to imagine this planet Earth in chaos as it is these days. And let's just send love to the places where we see the chaos, starting with Baltimore. So let's just imagine sending love, a bubble of love over the city of Baltimore. And see this love going down and enveloping all the people there and changing their hearts so they can see more clearly. And let's send this bubble of love over to New York, and down to Atlanta, and over to Florida. And let's just see this bubble of love expand all across the United States, hitting every state, every city, every place where there's challenges and problems. Let's just see this love. And imagine the United States covered with this bubble of love. Let's imagine the color green like the heart chakra. And let's imagine this love expands across the oceans and across all the other countries, all across the globe, to the entire planet itself is covered with love. And let's just imagine this love being absorbed by each and every individual who feels it. And let's just imagine then the world being a different place when all beings upon the planet feel the love, share the love, and operate according to the love. So let's just imagine this as a possibility that can truly occur, that we all can change for the better. And let's just send out love as we go into the world today, no matter what situations we see, what challenges or problems. Let's just send love to it, quietly. And as we do so, let's just allow that love to change the situation. So allow your subconscious mind to continue on that journey, sending out love. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That is it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow. Have yourselves a great day. Just keep sending love into the world. That's what we need. We can get through these times. I know we can. We're all capable. All we have to do is be willing. And the first place is with love. So let's just send love, and let's just open ourselves up to love and allow that change to do what it needs to do to bring positivity to the world we live in. That's it for today. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.